from the show last weekend, or the weekend before, or last weekend because we were busy working on the new addition to the farm. But we are here. The boys just came running down. There they are. Yep, just came down to join us for a live. Got the sheep nearby, and I'll show you the new additions here in a minute. So if you haven't watched my video from the show, I recommend you do. It was a roller coaster ride. We had quite the storm moving through. The light's not the best. Let me move up a little bit. Got my little rocking couch here. And so anyway, we were at the show 2 weeks ago. I put up a video from the show, some of the highlights and lowlights. Wasn't the best, but with a 3-day storm, discovered my saddle was not fitting properly because Oreo has grown and changed so much. So his saddle needed to be adjusted. And let's see who just joined. Hello there. Please don't spam the channel, but happy to have you join us. So discovered my saddle wasn't fitting properly because his body has grown and changed so much since I bought the saddle when he was 3. He's coming 5. So I didn't have a half pad. So my friend that I was showing with, hey BB, thanks for coming back. My friend that I was showing with, she loaned me a half pad, and we were able to get through the show with a lot of tension. Just wasn't really great. So then I just didn't do anything with him since the show. He hasn't been ridden until yesterday. Since the show, there was no point. I knew the saddle wasn't fitting properly, so there was no reason to ride. And just did some body work, used the massager. You'll see some clips of that. Just trying to get him softer in his body and get rid of that the spasms, the muscle spasms that were happening in his back from the saddle sitting in a position where it shouldn't be sitting. So yesterday my saddle fitter came out, and there's some clip things that they can put in the saddle to adjust the front dimensions, and they were having trouble with it. So they went ahead and took it. It may have to go back to the factory in Virginia to get fixed, but it's going to be fixed. And in the meantime, they gave me a loaner. And I posted a short with the loaner saddle last night. So if you haven't seen the short, it's there on the channel. The loaner saddle fits him like a glove. It's a different version than my saddle. Hi, Jacqueline. I am actually 59. I hate saying that word out loud, but I am. No, John, we're not homeless. I just have my hat on because it's a farm and the sun and that sort of thing. But anyway, thanks for coming. And so anyway, I had the saddle sent back with my saddle fitter yesterday, and I have the loaner saddle now. I may have it for a couple of weeks. And I rode in it yesterday, and he went beautifully. He was much softer in his body. I was really happy about that. So really happy with the saddle change. So that was nice. And since you guys have joined, let me walk over here. We got the donkeys are nearby. So you want to go see my donkeys? Let's see if we can switch this. There's my donkeys. That's Jenny. And they were, both the girls were wild at one point. I don't think donkeys are ever really wild. They will do anything for food. They love raiding trash cans, eating cardboard. They're browsing on the trees right now, which is good because they keep the trees trimmed back. So that is Jenny. And this is Amy over here browsing on this tree. Amy is younger. So Amy was 4 when we got her, so she's about 10 now. And Jenny, I think, is around 15. So, Amy is the lighter one, and she is much more wary of humans. She really is not all that thrilled. And there's one of my rams standing over there. I think that's twin. And then we have a couple more sheep over here. So there's a sheep over there. So, but, oops, there we go. This is one of my, whoops, I hate when it does that. One of my pastures over here to the side. I'm sitting on the deck for my arena, and the horses are over here. And the other pasture, we're eventually going to be doing posts and electric fencing to zone off some of the pastures so I can move them around. But for right now, they've got panels. The corral panels are up, and then they can move around. This is a slight hill here. Goes up to where the barn is, so they can run up and down the hill and go to the front pasture, and they have all this in the back area in front of the outside paddocks. And so I figured it's a beautiful day. I would come out here and hang out with you. So I don't know. Do anybody have any questions or anything you'd like to know about Falcao Farm? We're just a small farm in Northern California. I do dressage with my horses. That's my primary function. I do breed the sheep. They are for grazing because the summertime, all this green stuff goes away. It turns brown, dead. And then we end up with fire danger. So the sheep are here. The sheep are here for fire mitigation to reduce fire danger, and also to trim all the vegetation, keep the grounds pretty close. It's almost like a golf course here in the spring because the sheep keep it pretty close, which is nice. We don't have to mow anymore. We haven't mowed. I think last year we mowed twice in the front yard, but we don't mow anymore, and we do irrigate. So we run sprinkler systems in the summer from depends on when the rainy season stops, from mid to late April or early May, and until about September, thereabouts, whenever the season starts to get wet again. It's dry the whole rest of the summer, so we have to irrigate. But even irrigating, the sheep and donkeys keep the place very comfortable with the grass. So this is my new addition. So I will flip you around, hopefully. There. So this is our new chicken house. It's just sprayed with some primer coat right now. We need another coat because we put the trim on. And this is our chicken run. And we have two girls. They are gold-laced wine cots, something like that. So this is Salt and Pepper. So that we have a automatic door for them. Hi, Peppa. So I have an automatic door for them, and they were waiting actually this morning for the door to open. So that's obviously Peppa, and that's Salt, and you can see the gold lacing on the feathers. So these are my chickens. Someday they'll hopefully give us eggs. And so we just finished building this. It's basically a fortified chicken coop. So we have a very tight hardware cloth here, very tiny little squares, 1/4 inch. And then we have the 2x4 surround on the bottom to keep it nice and tight and predator free. And then of course we have the omelet door. Nothing is sponsored. I don't have a sponsored anything. So I've purchased everything you see. And then we have the roof, and so they've got, it's a lovely cool area. Oh, well, and I have cameras too. I have cameras outside here in the run, and I have one inside. Do I see the big cat? She's actually fairly small, and so if you're talking about the picture that I uploaded, she's in the house. She's upstairs. You can see the window right there is open. Right there. She's sitting in the window watching the birds that are in the tree. So that is, she was actually born in a barn, but she does not like being outside. Are you talking about the lion that was on Instagram? That was in Susanville? Was it Susanville that was looking through the dog door? I did see that. And we actually do have a mountain lion here. We haven't had any predation from the mountain lion in a few years. Well, about 2 years. But we actually do have a mountain lion here. Most places here in California have mountain lions. Mountain lions, bobcats, coyotes, wolves. I'm actually about 20, it's not even 20 miles from here, probably about 15 miles from here, there is a wolf pack in Los Molinos in that area, which is down here in the valley. Sacramento, well, this is the northern valley, it's not really the Sacramento Valley. But anyway, so there's a wolf pack in the area, but it's, you know, a few miles north east of us. We have the donkeys for protection for the sheep, and the rams obviously have very ginormous horns, and most predators don't really want to deal with them. It's kind of like bighorn sheep. You know, they are susceptible to mountain lions, but the donkeys are pretty aware of what's going on in the area, so they alert and run around and yell and get the sheep to gather. They do the best they can. I mean, you know, it's a lion. But the horses are not bothered. The chickens obviously are in the fortified chicken palace because we do have foxes here. So we know we have foxes. I've seen them on my cameras. So we have foxes, and they've taken chickens because my neighbors, I have 3 neighbors around me that have free-range chickens during the day. So their chickens have been predated by the fox. I keep mine in. Mine are not free range because I know that we have predators here, and that would be dumb. You know, you spend all that money getting your chickens and building a palace for them, and then, you know, you let the lion get them or the fox get them. So mine stay inside. Let's see if I can put this. Can't do it one-handed. I have a awning here. I was going to put it down a little bit, but so anyway, Jenny got itchy. Jenny's itching over there on the post. Oh, Amy's over here doing some tree maintenance. Amy's usually pretty close by. Wherever Jenny is, Amy's not too far off. So she's over there browsing. She's trimming the trees. You can see how high up they have to reach, but which is nice because then they trim the trees higher and cuts down on the ability for fire to run through the property, which is nice. So they're very efficient at what they do. And you can see how low the grass is. So let's see, so if I didn't have the animals out here, the grass would be about 12 inches tall about now. My neighbor's having to mow because it's about 12 inches tall. So the animals really make a big difference keeping the grass down, which keeps the fire danger down. It was a dove. That's one of our young rams walking through the ditch down there. There's a ewe over there. There's another ram sitting in the back chewing his cud, chilling out. The funny thing is that I have cameras all over the property. So the sheep and donkeys are actually moving around most of the night. It's quite interesting. I thought they would be bed down and sleeping. But no, they're walking around the property, moving around almost all night long. The cameras pick them up on the motion detectors throughout the night. And then they bed down, you know, like they are right now during the day. So the biggest times of predation concerns are first thing in the morning around daybreak and then in the evening at dusk. But during the day, they're pretty safe. And there's a lot of activity. So my neighbors looking that direction, they have cows and goats. The people behind me, they lease the property behind me and they have cows on it right now. My neighbor on the other side behind me, they have 3 goats. Not enough to get their property cleaned up, but they have 3 goats. And then across the street, they've got 3 cows. So, and down the road, they've got chickens and sheep and donkeys. And so pretty much everybody on this road has got some form of livestock, horses and whatever. So that is the sheep and donkeys. We can go back over here to the horses. So there's Duende, my foal. Well, he's a yearling, but he's a rather big yearling. So it's Duende, walking around, getting his eat on. And the horses are pure Spanish, or Andalusians. They are pure Spanish. They're registered in Spain. Very high-end breeding, specifically for dressage, so I can be competitive in dressage. Because a lot of the movements are based on the movement of the horse, his natural gaits. So if the horse has very correct gaits, then your scores are going to be that much higher. I know it sounds silly, but that's the way it works. So that's Duende, and then over here we have Oreo, who is 4. He's going to be 5 in May on Mother's Day. And he's the one that I had the saddle adjusted for yesterday, because he's grown quite a bit. And as he's growing, we needed room for him to be able to grow. And so that's why he got the saddle adjustment done. I really like my saddle, so hopefully they can get it done fairly quickly. But the loaner saddle is nice, so that's good. But we had about 3 days of upper 70s, low 80s earlier in the week, and then we had a little bit of rain, and the grass is just sprung, because they've been out here grazing now for month, just over a month and a half maybe. So they got it down pretty low, and I took them off when we had the high winds. I took them off the grass for a couple of days. And now the grass is really sprung up, even with the sheep and donkeys out here. The grass is really sprunging up. So they've got plenty to eat. And yeah, so that's what we're doing today. We're just chilling. I'll ride later this afternoon. And there's Duende. When you see Duende and Oreo next to each other, you can see the big difference. Duende, the baby, is bigger than Oreo. The different parents, but they're very, Spanish bred anyway. But he is much more of a high-end show horse breeding, very highly rated for dressage. And Oreo, I took a risk on him. The breeding in the back of his pedigree suggested that he'd have talent, and he had the basic gaits when I bought him as a yearling. And his sire is doing 3rd level dressage, so getting closer to the FEI levels. And Oreo has all the talent in the world. I just have to get him to Grand Prix someday. So that's the goal, that's the journey, trying to get to Grand Prix. So if you're new here, I appreciate it if you do a thumbs up and like the channel and subscribe. That would be awesome. The algorithm that they employ on on YouTube, it's really difficult for small channels like mine to kind of break through. So if you come in and you see my channel and you like my animals and you like our story, give us a subscribe. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. It just helps the channel with the algorithms. And if you hit like, it helps it bring the videos up also in the algorithm. It's all about the algorithm. Just kind of a silly way to do things, but that's the way they do it. So there's the two boys. They're not next to each other, but they're fairly close. You can clearly see that the baby on the right is much bigger than my almost 5-year-old on the left. So anyway, let me flip around here. So yeah, if you have any questions, you know, happy to answer anything that you have a question about. Well, that's not too bad. I thought it'd be too dark. The sun is lovely. It's nice to sit here on the my little rocking couch. For those of you, well, most of you that are visiting on my live wouldn't really know who I am or what I do. So I'm an adult amateur dressage rider. I am a disabled veteran, U.S. Air Force disabled veteran. And I have recently been diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, which has apparently been there for many years because I've been complaining about the symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis for decades. And unfortunately, the medical profession doesn't really listen to women, you know. So we have that going on, and all they had to do was run a blood test, and it was very obvious. So anyway, I'm dealing with rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disorder, and it is attacking all of the joints in my body. So I have 4 bulging discs in my back. I have a herniated disc in my neck. I have 2 discs in my thoracic that are wonky. I have tinnitus in my right elbow currently. I have a flare-up going on in my right elbow that's quite painful. I've had flare-ups in my knees, my ankles. Literally every joint in my body has had flare-ups, and I'm chronic at this point because I've had it for so many years, and so I'm in pain every day. And I got to the point where I just thought, okay, well, I guess this is what life is. I guess you're just in pain every day, all the time. But I'm in pain all the time because of this condition. It's not normal to have the amount of degeneration that I have in my joints. I shouldn't have that that degree of degeneration, but I do. And my friend was kind of funny. She said, well, how do you ride horses, you know, if you have all these problems? And I said, well, I'm in pain, but I'm still going to ride my horses, you know, because yeah, I'm going to live. So, you know, I have lidocaine patches, I have, you know, medication. I just deal with the pain when it's higher than usual, like my normal baseline pain. When it becomes higher than that, then I just take, you know, additional pain medications and patches to help. But yeah, I'm in pain all the time, but I still ride. And I see people that are in their 70s and 80s that are still riding competitively, you know, in dressage. And why not? You know, I mean, at some point, it inhibits me to some degree. Like my back went out yesterday just because we were walking in the store, picking up some materials, and all of a sudden my back hurt so bad I could hardly move. And so I'm trying to get it to get better, trying to make it feel a little better. But yeah, it's very painful. But what I've discovered is if I ride, even when my back is fairly painful, the movement of the riding with the horse, especially at the walk, it helps to, that movement of the joints in my back and my pelvis help it get better. It's weird, but it does help it get a little better rather than just laying down, which is all I want to do most of the time, is just lay down. But if I'm moving, it does help it get a little better. So anyway, that's a little bit about me. And the sheep and donkeys and the horses are just munching away. So I'll flip you around. Maybe. Yeah, there we go. The donkeys are moving their way down the arena. So they're on the, I need to put the horses in the arena. You can see how thick that grass is where the donkeys are. So I need to put the horses back in there to eat that down. I mean, obviously I could do a weed eater, but why do that when I have the sheep and donkeys and the horses? They can eat that stuff. And they do a pretty good job. You know, they get it pretty close to the fence. I think there's some weeds in there that they don't particularly like. I think that's why those are taller than the rest. And then we've got the boys are over here. They do like the shorter grass. That's like their favorite. So they're over there on the other side of the arena eating grass. I just moved the panels at the end, so there's panels down here at the bottom. Where's my finger? Right down at the bottom, I've got a couple panels across, and I moved them down further so they'd have some more grass to eat. So they're out there doing what they enjoy. So they'll be out here for most of the day, and then later this afternoon, I'll bring him in and probably ride Oreo briefly, just to make sure he's still feeling good about the loaner saddle. And we have a show coming up on April 11th to 13th. I'm actually heading down to the show on the 10th. I'll be there with my coach and my friends that I've been showing with the last couple of shows. So hopefully I will have time between my rides to do some vlogging or maybe do a live from the show. But we'll see. I wasn't able to do anything this last show because the weather was just so awful. I mean, it was blowing 40, 45 mile an hour winds, gusts, and it was, all the horses were upset in the barns, and the ones that were outside having to ride in that was just appalling. So it was terrible. But this is what they enjoy. They've been in for a couple days, so they're real happy to be out and munching. All right, well, I think I'm gonna cut it off here. Unless anybody has any specific questions, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, you know, because I do the lives. I try to do them on Saturdays, just for a half an hour or so, and just come out here and just enjoy the day. And then, of course, I have my horse show videos and stuff that I do. So, but yeah, check out the channel. You can see all kinds of antics from the sheep and donkeys because they're always in trouble. And the horses doing horse things. They're pretty chill right now because they're eating. But if I had them in the arena, they would eat some of the grass around the edge of the arena, and they'd start messing with each other and playing. But they definitely prefer to be out here eating. It's their go-to. So, all right. Well, I appreciate you coming. And like I said, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button down below, and help the channel out. It'd be lovely to have you come and visit us when we do another live. And all right, have a good rest of your day.